It's not been a good start to the transfer window in many ways for Manchester United. There are big reports coming out today that Eric Ten Hag is fuming with the Glazers, frustrated at there being a lack of money for certain signings, maybe a lack of pull in certain areas for others. And we're going to delve into those in individual detail. But the takeover can't come soon enough, not just for Manchester United fans, but for the manager of Manchester United as well. There's always problems with Man United's window, and I've been somebody that's been calling this out for many, many years. It's something that I'm embarrassed by. It's something that I find pathetic. It's something that the club has got to work very hard on rectifying. And the report today, as I've mentioned, says that United boss finally loses it with takeover uncertainty as Declan Rice transfer is blocked. So the manager wants Declan Rice, but there isn't the money available to get the deal done. So the club has said no chance that we can bid 100 odd million for the player. Not great for Man United. You also see exactly the same thing with Harry Kane. The club want him. Spurs are pricing him out of the market. We don't have the readies. There is not the money. There is not the bees to go and get that done. You could argue the same with Osherman as well. Victor Osherman is a player that, again, is high up on the priority list of the Man United manager, but we're having to shop. Listen, Højlund may end up being a very good striker for us, but listen to what the reports have suggested Ten Hag wants. He wants both. He wants a Højlund plus a Kane or an Osherman. He wants to add Declan Rice into the middle, but instead we're left not so much scraping the barrel because Man United will still spend a lot of money this summer, but it isn't as much as the club needs to go to that next level. The step-by-step process back to being the very best team in England, or trying to become the very best team in England, is consistently hampered by the Glazers. Now, before anybody says it, but you've spent £1 billion in 10 years. There lies the problem. You think you're countering my argument, but in fact, you're backing it up. Because of £1 billion spent, and on the majority of those transfers, they've flopped, they've left the club or have no resale value. Because of the overvaluation of players, the over-indexing of their quality, and the huge contracts given out to people that don't deserve it, David De Gea shouldn't be on 350 a week. Sancho, Anthony Martial, and many, many, many. Phil Jones only just leaving the club after being on 75,000 to £100,000 a week for the past decade. He should be gone, but he's been here. We waste money. And then what happens, and it happened to Jose, and it's happening again now, maybe, under the Glazers. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's happening again now. What happens is we start to improve, we start to look good, and then the money is cut short, or we don't have enough readies to be able to go out there and buy the targets to take us to that next level. Man United run correctly, with no debt, who hadn't wasted billions in the past, billions, hadn't had all these interest payments, hadn't had all these dividends taken out. A club that had owners that invested money instead of taking it out. What Man United would be able to do this summer is go, right, there's the money for Rice or an alternative. There's the money for Kane or an alternative. There's the money for a new goalkeeper or an alternative. In fact, Eric Ten Hag wouldn't be in this rush for a rebuild if we'd even been run properly in the last decade. It's never about how much money you spend. It's about spending it correctly. Because at the end of the day, and this proves the logic that some fans have of, I don't care how much we spend, it isn't my money, is one of the worst pieces of football logic and fandom logic I've ever heard. If you just spend money willy-nilly, especially if you don't have owners or a director of football you trust, you run out in the end. Eventually, you run out of money, as Man United are looking like they may now. Now, do I believe we've only got a £100 million budget this summer? No. We've probably got somewhere close to 200, maybe 250. But with the price of players in 2023, it's hampering us. And it's pathetic and it's embarrassing that we're in this situation. Hamstringing Eric Ten Hag already. You then look at the situation with David De Gea. The reason he may have to stay is if the club doesn't have enough money to buy an adequate replacement. We're scoffing over prices around 40 to 50 million pound for Onanas and Costas. That is horrendous. The, the, the quality of those goalkeepers versus the price they're going to cost is ridiculously good. But Man United are not in a privileged position to be able to do it because of the other areas on the pitch we need to fill because of 10 years of mismanagement. All these situations come back to Woodward being appointed, the bad projects he sanctioned, of course, all underwritten by the Glazers. And then you look at the situation with Kim Min Jae. Now, Kim Min Jae is a player I wanted. He's a player that Eric Ten Hag wanted. Fabrizio said there was no terms agreed. A lot of the Italian press disagrees and said, look, the player is really up for joining Manchester United. But my biggest fear kicked in. I said it on every single Kim Min Jae segment we did in the past 2 months. The bigger club comes in, before we get this deal done, there could be problems. Because when it comes to position in football, our status in 2023, we don't compete with City, with Bayern Munich, with Real Madrid. We just don't. We haven't competed for our own league title in 10 years. We haven't been a threat in the Champions League for 10 years. We've won some domestic trophies, which is brilliant. We've won the Europa League, which is great. But we haven't been a threat at the elite end of the football spectrum for 10 solid years. And as much as I love my football club, I'm also a realist. Kim Min Jae can join Man United. I can go to Bayern Munich. Of course, there's going to be more pull there. Now, some people have an underlying desire to play for Ten Hag or play in the Premier League or play for Man United. That makes it an easier sell. But when somebody isn't sold purely on the Premier League or Man United, and it comes down to which club is best for my career, where am I going to win the most, where am I going to succeed the most, those teams I've mentioned and others, the reason that Gakpo and Darwin chose Liverpool over Man United, United fans hate hearing this, but wake up and smell the coffee, is because of where their status in the game is. Now, we had a year where we were better than them. Now, if we add 2, 3, 4 years being better than them, start winning trophies, we'll reassert our power over them. We had power over them in the transfer market for a quarter of a century. A quarter of a century. So look at missing out on Kim Min Jae, Kane, maybe Victor Osimhen, finding that we're blocked from going for Declan Rice because there isn't the money at the club, should embarrass every Man United fan to their core. Should make you look at us and think, how pathetic are we? One of the most famous football clubs in the world, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. And the money's not there. Now we get the likes of Simon Jordan on Talk Sport, and you'll get Sky Sports presenters. You'll get rivals. I know in the chat right now, I already know what you have written. Some of you won't have got to 8 minutes and 15 seconds. You've already put this down, but you spend more than City, but you've got the highest wage bill. That is the actual issue. But of course, it's a deeper issue than that. They never have the right Man United representation on television, on radio, talking about this. Honest to God, I see it and I'm just like, why are you not challenging the likes of Simon Jordan? We're not bemoaning the valuation, the volume of money spent. We're talking about the incompetence in spending it. The incompetence of spending it. We hemorrhage money on the wrong managers in the wrong players for varying systems. We still now have a squad, which is a hybrid squad of 2 to 3 managers. What Ten Hag is asking for is the money to remove the players that just don't fit his philosophy, the attitude that he needs, etc., and replace them with players that he deems adequate. But the money isn't there because of all the money wasted in the past. The fact there is a 600 to 700 million pound debt of money we owe to other clubs. So of the billion pounds spent on players in the last decade, 600 to 700 million pound of it is still owed. Oh, the Glazers spend though. Why are you angry? Because of this. Now there is a takeover pending. There is light at the end of the tunnel for Manchester United. But the fans have to stay mobilized, active, vocal. And I've seen a lot of fans say, if the gym comes, I'm angry. Basically, the Glazers remaining. But what's your tangible action going to be? Been telling Man United fans before, and I saw a big long thread the other day. Some of it I agreed with, some of it I didn't, about how match going Reds won't listen to non-match going Reds. We understand the club better. People asking us to boycott are wrong. We're not wrong. What I would say to these people is let's have a face-to-face or digital conversation. No shouting and hollering. I'm a better fan. You're not a great fan. I'm better than you. She's better than him. Nonsense. Let's just discuss the merits of all of our thoughts and feelings around what can help get the club made, help make the club be run better. And we might get the owners we all want, and this becomes immaterial, elementary. We move on from this conversation, but we may not. We may keep the Glazers or get Sir Jim. What's the action? We have to have something in place because I still think Man United can have a very good summer. I'm not saying we can't have a very good summer. I'm not saying we can't have a 6 or a 7 or an 8 out of 10. But we need an exceptional summer. We need a world-class summer. We need the best summer imaginable. And we're being hamstrung again by our football illiterate owners who have diminished this football club from one of the beacons and powerhouses of this game to a laughing stock at times. Ten Hag has done an exceptional job, and it's why I ring fence what he has achieved as a manager from my overall feelings about the football club. What he has done year one has been nothing short of exceptional, based on all the problems laid out before him. But again, now he is being damaged by those blood-sucking leeches who are the Glazers of the Glazers, and it pains me deeply. I want your thoughts and feelings. I get rivals are going to enjoy this, but Man United, you might not get this anywhere else. This needs to be called out. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on it, people. Let me know. Hit the like and the share button. Leave me your comments below, and I'll chat to you all again soon.